show the process. I feel like a lot of us are afraid to show like the raw, me figuring it out. Like, no, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I have no idea, but I bet it's like 15 other people that have no idea what they're doing, and they need to be validated to say like, oh, she doesn't know what she's doing, but she's making it work. Like, oh, she's making money though, she's still figuring it out, so it's okay for me to figure it out too. Hey y'all, so we are going live on Instagram, and I thought it would be cool for you all to join me as well. So I'm gonna be talking here, but I'm really talking to you all as well. Yeah, this is with Beyond the Socials. It's an Instagram page that basically talks to creatives about life beyond social media, because it's this life that we live and where we create goes beyond the platforms that we're forced to create in. So I hope that you all join me, enjoy this video as I talk about my creative journey and transitioning from a 9-to-5 to doing this thing full time. So yeah, tap in. Hey y'all, I'm so happy that people are joining. I see some of my faves in the comments, so just know I see y'all and I appreciate y'all for showing up for me. It's real.
Well, all in all, you guys, today is episode 3 of Beyond the BS, where we'll be discussing creative shift, like literally life beyond the 9-to-5, jumping into full-time creative, being a creative entrepreneur, and what that entails and what does that look like in a full basis. So I just want you to just go ahead and introduce yourself to people. You could share a little bit about yourself and a journey as a creative entrepreneur.
Guys, hey y'all, I'm Kadeja. I am the owner of Capcut Co as well as 1710 Studios. I like to say they're two separate worlds, but really like one has fed into the other and is all a part of my journey. So Capcut Co is an art and stationery shop. Right now I predominantly sell on Etsy, and it's images to inspire women of color, as well as 1710 Studios is my content studio, which houses everything creative that I do, meaning social media management, meaning content creation on my own personal brand, as well as other people's brands that they have trusted me with. Lots of things have been moving and shaking, but that's me in a nutshell, I would say, yeah.
Okay, so I am a little nosy. You made your story post, and I saw in the background that you said, what was your major in college before you even jumped in?
Yes, so I was a human services major. I went to school, I knew that I wanted to be a school social worker. So I worked in communities and schools as a site coordinator, basically looping in all of the community engagement work for kids that needed extra services in the building. So I was like the fun person. I would roll around with the snacks. I would do like perfect attendance parties. Like, it was super lit. But then the pandemic happened. Well, let me not get into it. But that's what I did in school. I was human services, social work track, really get into it. Okay. So yeah, so that's what I was doing previously. I went to VCU and was trying to get my social work degree in school social work, and child, I got kicked out because, I got kicked out for plagiarism. But to be honest, I just didn't know what I was doing. Like, citing wasn't my thing. And I got kicked out of my school, school social work. VCU was like the top school for social work. So I was devastated. That was my plan. My 5-year plan was I'm going to get my degree. I'm going to be a school social worker and work in, the schools, being great, saving the children. But what actually happened was the internship that I was going to get that second year of school, I was so excited about it. I ended up getting that job. Out of like, after I got kicked out of school, I applied for the job and got the job that I thought I needed the degree for. So I was like, something's working here. God was saying, girl, you don't need that. You need to be doing, I need you to keep moving. So fast forward the pandemic. Yeah, I was doing that for probably like 4 or 5 years. And that job, I loved that job, but I knew it was something bigger, but didn't really know or what that next step was going to be. But then the pandemic happened, and I hated working with kids virtually. Shout out to all the teachers that got through that, but Lord, that was not my ministry. I needed to be with the kids and actually like making that impact in person. So yeah, that's when all the other things started happening for me. But I'm gonna pause right there. That's the cliffhanger I'm gonna lead the people on.
Only with Capcut Co, but also as a content producer and social media management.
Yeah.
How did all of that
how did it happen?
Inspire you to start all of these things?
Yeah, so during the pandemic, like most people, I feel like that's where my story really started. During the pandemic, all of us were in the house. I don't know if y'all remember, but that was not fun times. I am really the type of person that once I get intrigued by something, I'm down the rabbit hole. shout out to YouTube University. So I found this YouTuber that was doing really cool things, and I loved when people were posting these illustrations or like these graphics of, you know, like typography and things like that. And I was trying to figure out, how do you do that? Like, I don't know what it is, but I want to figure that out. So went on YouTube University and figured that out. And then I realized, like, if I get an iPad, I could do this. Like, oh, if I get an Apple Pencil, I can create that. And then you can sell it on Etsy. So it's just like snowballs. As Black artists, I feel like during the pandemic, people were really excited. I mean, we still are excited, right? But it's just not the same energy around Black and brown businesses and pages and like sharing and uplifting our work. So people were really on it and sharing and uplifting the things that I was doing. And I started getting partnerships. I started making money for real. Yeah, and that's how Capcut Co started in 2020, in between like 2020 to 2022. I had some products in Marshalls and TJ Maxx. I worked with a company in Dubai on like a paint and sip situation. Really crazy things happened in like 3 years. So shout out to my support over on Capcut Co. I feel like that's when I really like started just sharing myself creatively without any boundaries or like super in my head about it. I just went full throttle into this business thing.
So I'm assuming that when outside opened that back up, that's where the content production, because you stay at events.
I do.
At ProCon.
Yeah. You know, and that's something, shout out to TikTok.
Tiana, she's in the room. She was like, we met her. This is such and such. And that's when everything just started coming like full circle. And then we had lunch and
now we're here. I have already peeped y'all from ProCon, of course, but I think like seeing y'all create beyond the socials outside of ProCon. And ProCon is a conference for PR and creative individuals, y'all, in the DMV area. I met a lot of dope people in that space, but when I saw that you all went from there and actually created something outside of that and saw like, okay, we can really do something together from that connection, I think that's what spaces like ProCon and conferences and networking are really about. So I think that was super dope.
We started that before ProCon.
I didn't know that.
Okay. So Tiana and I met on Instagram, I want to say like 3 months before that.
Mm-hmm.
It was around this time last year.
Okay.
And we knew that we were going to go to ProCon, and we just said we would do our launch right after ProCon because we were together. That was the first time we ever wasn't together.
See?
They created content together, and we had only knew each other through Instagram, and that was like one of the craziest things I ever did in my life, staying with a stranger. I love her dearly. She's like the best thing in the world. But it's just like I had to make that jump.
Exactly. And I think that creatives need to do that more. I was talking to one of my friends yesterday about networking online, and I think that we need to stop making it feel like it's weird. Like, I think that it's a lot of people doing dope things that you just showing up and supporting them online, like in the comment section, like genuinely sharing, like, I think that what you're doing is dope and I want you to be great. And it's a creator here, Tyler, that she lives in New Orleans. I met her on TikTok, and then when I pulled up to New Orleans, we like had lunch and had conversations, and I support her from hours away. So it's a lot of people in the room and like in general Instagram that I know are rooting for me, and I'm rooting for them. And when we can create together, I know that time is coming. So yeah.
So we already explained to people your love for events and how the content production started, and also like what does it look like for businesses to expand on a digital platform, because Capcut Co, like you from that, and I literally that's what I was seeing on TikTok when we started posting about the event stuff. So I just think that's like really great to talk about, like, even though we're all creatives, what do you think would be the best way for us to show up online?
For sure. So starting my own business and growing that from, nothing to 10K, and then doing my own website, doing my own newsletter, like that was my resume builder. Honestly, like that was me, boots on the ground, like, oh, I can really do this. And shout out to everybody that's classically trained, like that went and got a communications degree, that has like their degree in digital communications. But I can say like I've been on the back end of something and built it from nothing to something, and I have that small business perspective as well as like that personal brand perspective of how you can grow this thing. Dang, I lost my train of thought. So then I used that as a resume builder and switched into communications full time for like my 9 to 5. So when I was doing that. So since maybe like 2021 to recently 2024, I was working in communications full time, doing that. And then I was doing like nonprofit communications though, so it was a little boring. I'm not gonna lie. It was
it's good. I did it before, and literally, I did it for an internship for 6 weeks. I think it was like 6 to 8 weeks. But my God, was I ready for that 6 to 8 weeks
to be over.
I think that a lot of people, so we understand that how important social media is in this day and age, but nobody talks about how you really have to learn how to be a teacher to the older generation because they're so stuck in their ways. And although, yes, I still love in-person events, I still love word of mouth networking, but social media right now plays such a pivotal role in brand awareness. Like, you miss a whole
swap of people, right? Or trying to like make space for that creative process. Either like they think like, oh, we have an event, post that flyer on there and let's keep it moving. When it's not, no, let's actually tell a story that it can be connected to real life, but it can also like expand your brand on this digital platform. So yeah, girl, nonprofit work is very stale. I think like you said, like it's a part of the management style as well. Like, are you open to doing more? Because I feel like it's a lot that you can do in a nonprofit space with digital storytelling, but it depends on the brand and the company, girl. And who I was working with, snooze fest. So it was not a thing. Yeah. So
we definitely talked about just no longer working.
Yeah. So when I realized like, okay, this isn't my 9 to 5 is not where I'm getting fed creatively, I started voluntarily supporting Hey New Friends, which is an amazing community of women, Black women that are connecting, networking in real life and like making new friendships. So I was doing that as a volunteer opportunity, and it started growing, and that became like a full-time job. Not full-time, but it started becoming a paid opportunity, which is blessings on top of that. But what I was doing on there, people saw like, okay, maybe I can hire her out to do short form content for me for XYZ event. The first thing that I ever did was Broccoli City Fest, and shout out to the opportunity that was that, because I love festivals. Last year.
Okay.
So last year I did Broccoli City Fest. It was hot, but it was amazing because I was doing in real time storytelling, which is exactly like in the moment editing, in the moment storytelling, like following a creative around. And that opportunity sparked a thought in me that, oh, this is how I can market myself. This is the gap that I see. At the time I wasn't really interested in social media management. Like, I wanted to focus on short form content, and I saw the gap that people didn't really know how to execute that. So that's how 1710 Studios was created, predominantly for content and short form content creation for folks. So yeah.
It's crazy that Berkeley, I was still in school, yes. I was in school, and when I did that, that opened doors, and so from there we did Roots Picnic.
See?
Yeah, and so it just, I don't think, and like you said, a lot of people don't realize that. I just think it's crazy. Like, Broccoli City Fest was the...
Shout out Broccoli City. Shout out Broccoli City.
Literally sparked that.
Do you want to continue to do you see yourself morphing into more so, like social media management, or do you want to stick with like content creation, tell the story?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tell a story.
Yeah. I hate when I go on a page and it just looks like there's no life. Like, where is the voice? Where is the music? Where is the vibes? Like, it's just picture.
People, like, I get frustrated. That's why I had to stop being a consumer on social media, because I get frustrated. When I look at business, I'm like, oh my God, this is such a better way you could be going about it. And like, a part of me is like, should I pitch myself to them? And the part of me is like, they don't even know what they could afford.
First of all.
You know what I mean? Because it can get very pricey, and I think I'm at a stage where, yes, do I need extra experience with other brands? Because there was a time where I was doing this and I wasn't really building a portfolio behind me while I was doing it. It was something I was doing for fun. And so now that I want to actually build a portfolio, it's like, okay, I kind of feel like I have to do discounted work for X amount of time.
And we talked about this, and you know what I'm going to say. We've talked about this, and I think that it's power in that. Never go on record telling a Black woman to discount herself, but I'm just saying, like, it's power in networking and humbling yourself and understanding where you can meet people and what benefits that you can get from it as well. Like, okay, for Hey New Friends, for example, it was a volunteer opportunity. I was getting free membership. But when I tell you the people that I met and like the connections that were made, and like I was able to prove a proof of concept, like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing for real, but I can do this, and this, and I've grown this page from this way to this way. And I think that's a really, really powerful testament to say, like, yeah, I am worth this amount of money because I did this over here.
They look at Tiana, like, well, she always told me, up your price. I'm like, bro, if I could just get in with them for just a little bit, no, you need to charge them X amount out the gate.
See,
she's the problem.
Talk to her nice though, but that girl got talent.
She's the problem when it comes. Yes, back to that.
Yeah.
The social media management. I started in social media management.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in college, I just started doing it for a couple of organizations that I was a part of, and then my family business started, and so I started running their content page, and with the network we were getting from that, and at the time my sister was trying to get her foot into more so the marketing realm. I started doing media for other clients, which is how I got into Rockford City Fest.
Okay.
One of her clients. Personally, the only reason why I didn't like social media management is because I'm very come up with the schedule, because I'm not the type of person, don't text me or call me
on the day of, sis. Right.
You're texting me outside of...
You're the employee. And it's not like you're meeting me as a partner. You're meeting me as a person. Yeah.
And I'm very clear up front that I can break this contract.
You want your money back?
But you want to get your money back.
Okay, period. Because I will give you your money back if you're stressing me out. Like, you can have your money back.
For social media. So, if, here's what I've done so far for you, and you will get that. By all means, do not expect the rest of that.
Right. And I think that's a conversation about who do you vibe with. And I think creatives need to think, it's two types of creatives. I think it's a lot of us that's out there to get the bag, and I love that for y'all. Go get that bag, but all money ain't good money. And I'm not about to be stressed out. Like, that's why I work for myself. I don't want to work for somebody else that's going to have me up all night stressed out. Like, you don't understand my boundaries. Like, you, as an entrepreneur, now I have to be my boss, like my best boss, my best advocate, my best supervisor. So I need to make sure that I put those boundaries. And like, if we don't vibe, I don't have to work with you, dog. Like,
and speak on that, because when we look at that, like, as an entrepreneur, like, okay, yes, we get these inquiries, but it's on us to also interview them to see who's the best fit for us to work with,
and have that discernment.
Where starting out full time, you be like, okay, well, I can't really afford not to take clients right now. Like,
yeah.
What does that look like? Because there are times where you feel like you're in a position where you have to take clients.
Yeah.
Just because you need income, and then there are moments where you realize, okay, maybe that wasn't the best decision, and then you're trying to get yourself out. So what does that look like in trying to find the right clients for yourself?
Right. I think that a lot of that is networking and putting yourself in spaces where you vibe with the people that you're around. I would want to say that first and foremost. And then I think for me, I have the comfort of having another source of income. Like, I have my art business. I could do an event, a gig where it's a short-term contract. It's only like a short-term interaction. So I think, or even digital products, like, I think diversifying it so that you're not solely dependent on, damn, I'm in this contract for 6 months with this person that I absolutely hate. You know what I mean? Diversifying your income so that you're not solely dependent on that one thing is, first and foremost, I think, important for small businesses and entrepreneurs in general. But doing something that's less touch points, especially, I think is important. That's a great question, girl, because I'm still figuring it out. Because this morning, even, I had an inquiry, and I'm like, I could say yes and stress myself out. Because I know that they're going to be expecting like a 24-hour turnaround, and I'm not in that space right now. So I have to be my best boss and say, you know what, Kadeja, yeah, you could use that extra $50, but let's not do that today. Like, let's focus on other things. Let's give ourselves a break and be manageable of our own time. So yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, that was perfect just in general. Because as creators, like you mentioned earlier, I have to get myself together. Why
you did.
Right now, I'm telling y'all, ADHD
is a thing.
Power in being a creative with ADHD, but I'm telling you, when it comes to talking and active listening and really being a part of,
honey, or following a thought, remembering what the person said before.
I heard you, and it really resonated. Now I'm trying to.
Now, what I was going to say after that was...
It's completely...
Girl, we in it together. It's fine. It's okay.
See, that's why this is the perfect segue. We're going to go straight. So May is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yes.
So as a creative, we often face, like, unique challenges that most typically don't.
Yeah.
How has it affected your mental health, and especially your faith, because we are faith believers, affected, your mental health and your faith, and, like, what strategies do you put in place? And I know we're still working on that.
Amen.
Because it's a continuous process, and sometimes it will mess you up. But how do you think, what strategies or practices that do you have in place that help maintain balance and resilience during challenging times?
Yeah, I wish I had like a step-by-step process, but I just want to go into like reflecting on the journey that I've been on. It's when I moved to the DMV area, I had all the intentions of, yeah, girl, we're going to be out here, we're going to network, we're going to build our brand, and that was not what was happening. Like, it was a completely different shift of environment. I'm from Richmond, Virginia, which is like a smaller town. So coming to DC and realizing like, oh, these people been doing it. Oh, I'm a very small fish in this big pond was just like shocking to me. And that fall, I fell into a deep depression. I didn't know what I wanted to do or like where I wanted to go. And at this point, I didn't have content creation or like social media management happening. I was just doing my art and stationery. And I didn't have the same vigor because DC didn't have that energy around it. And I went into a shell of myself, and my mental health was suffering because I wasn't expressing myself creatively anymore. And I realized, like, as creatives, we have to take care of our mental and our bodies and get to sleep and feed ourselves correctly, because without that, everything's up here. Like, we just can't go on autopilot, even though like some things like accounting, responding to emails, yeah, we can do that in our sleep, but creating, you have to have your heart right. You have to have your mental health right. You have to like get 8 hours of sleep so you can think about something that it doesn't exist in the real world yet. So I think that taking care of myself and understanding like, okay, maybe I do need to step away. And I just started to play creatively again. I started doing things that were completely opposite from what I thought I needed to do and like force myself to do. And I think that was God just reminding me that it's things bigger than that. Like I let you do art for a little bit, but you're so much more than that. Like, you're such a creative being that you can do anything.
Black women as a whole, Black people in general, we are so much more. And I think that the environment that we live in, especially the places that we put ourselves in, want us to be in a box. And I was telling Tiana about something like, really just being still and listening, because you already know what it is that you need to do, and you might be struggling with this particular situation, but if everyone else around you is confirming it for you, if God is confirming it, that's what it is. So we have to just be still and listen to God in that place. And sometimes you do have to walk away from a certain friend group or from certain family members. From certain jobs, from certain businesses, organizations. So I just love how everything always continues to go full circle in a moment. But that's okay.
What I was talking about, keeping yourself away from certain things too. Like, even when I transitioned out of the 9-to-5, I was very strategic about who I shared that with, even in my family, because I knew, like, even though it wasn't any malice in their heart, I knew that they would always like support me no matter what. I knew I had to protect my mental. Like, I knew all I needed to hear was, you got this, go. Like, that's it. And I couldn't allow other people's voices or like fear or like questioning kind of get in the way of that. So I just told my dad, like, I lost my job in February. Like, I literally, and then like even sharing on social media, like I shared in the stories, and then I shared online in a wilder space, because I knew like I need to share my story because other people aren't going to need this, like, in order to execute on the way that they need to. But it was very intentional about when to share certain things, and I think full stop.
And you're still trying to get me part like that fully yet, but that is hard because I do live back at home with my parents. Sometimes they mean well, and child, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
And it's just when even my bishop yesterday, he was like, this is why.
We could have a whole nother conversation about the difference between like this generation and the older generation and the community, or even creative people and non-creative people. it's a whole different conversation, for sure. That's the thing about building a team too. I feel like that's what I'm learning in this season is like, yeah, I see a vision, but how much of this is really for me to execute and how much of this is for me to find other people or for God to put other people in my life that can help me execute this thing. So I'm learning like which ones are for me and which ones for later date. Like, just things like that too, because everything is not for us to do on our own either.
Just jumping into the last question.
Yeah,
what advice do you have for aspiring creatives in navigating their own journey, whether it's leaving a traditional job, building a brand, or prioritizing their mental well-being while pursuing their passion? And also to those of you on the live, please feel free to ask us some questions and we will answer them while we still have the time. So
for sure, drop questions, please. But to answer that question, when you sent the questions yesterday, of course, you come up with all the generic things like, know yourself or know your purpose or remember your why. And I'm like, yeah, I could say all those great things, but I think as creatives that are navigating this particular space and like this time, we have to think beyond the socials. No, seriously, we have to think beyond these platforms that they're giving us. I think right now you see a shift on Instagram, you see a shift on TikTok's leaving. Like you see a shift on social media, and I feel like we all can feel it. Like something is happening here. And I really do believe like the quicker that we identify our core audience and our true fans and our true people that are going to show up for us and feed those people, the quicker that we're all going to see success. I feel like a lot of times for the past couple years online, we've been creating to feed the algorithm and feed this bigger monster of Instagram, of Meta, and we're playing into their game, into their brands, and paying for them to sit on these boards and do whatever they want and pay for these ads and things like that. And we're going to see these platforms grow more into that commercial lane. And I feel like as creatives, that's not where we belong. We belong in smaller spaces to really feed our communities. Be it that YouTube, be it, even though that's similar, but in a different world. Be it that YouTube, be it that Patreon, be it that IG channel, like be it a blog, be it a newsletter. I think the quicker that we develop those safe spaces for our audience to really support us, that's when you're going to see the movement and the growth. So even if I'm selling greeting cards, if I'm selling a social media project, like I'm going to see those people continue to show up for me, no matter what I do. And I feel like the quicker that more creatives play into that community development type vibe, the better that we're all going to see a community online that we want to pursue. That's my advice for people developing their brand online today, as well as, show up. Like I've been telling you, like show the process. I feel like a lot of us are afraid to show like the raw me figuring it out. Like, no, I don't know what I'm doing. Like I have no idea, but I bet it's like 15 other people that have no idea what they're doing, and they need to be validated to say like, oh, she doesn't know what she's doing, but she's making it work. Like, oh, she's making money though, she's still figuring it out, so it's okay for me to figure it out too. I think that we need to see that more online.
Yeah.
We got a question.
Yeah. Kevin asked, thoughts on how to bridge the gap between older generations. I'm gonna let you start with that one.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, Myron, that's exactly, I've been showing how the soup is made. That is one of the quotes that I'm putting into my piggy bank, as well as, what's another one? People buy people, not brands. So that's another thing that's similar to that. Like show yourself, show up, show how the soup is made, show the behind the scenes. But to answer the question of thoughts on bridging the gap is, first of all, to identify when you're wasting your time. First of all, like I think a lot of conversations you see the older generation just doesn't want to learn, isn't open to that, and I think that it'll be a waste of time trying to convince those people. But when you see those people that are curious and that are asking questions and showing up, I think that's when there's potential there, and meeting them on their level, like not talking down to them, but saying like, that PR is great, or that business card is great. Let me show you, oh, we have a digital way to do that. Like not talking down to them, but showing that is a better way and it's an easier way in a friendly manner is my tip. So yeah. Or just doing it too. A lot of the times in my job, I would just do stuff and then they're like, wow, like stop asking for permission, which is just a Kadeja thing.
I think that, and that's also great, and I understand that even working with the older generation, that they do have a few young ones in the ball, but I think that they should be more open to outside training and coaching on social media. That's something that I've been wanting to like jump into, like certain places. I know that they may have a social media person, but for somebody to really come in and talk to them about what does that look like, how do we create these short
what does storytelling look like? And
if you can't do it on your own, like I'm here as an outside source for you. I know other creatives can plug in and be an outside source for you, because then that way not only is somebody feeding me, but I'm feeding other people, because I can't work for everybody at once. So I think education is really important, and so it's really breaking down the purpose of social media. We literally have to coach them from the beginning to end,
spoon feeding
of all things like branding and why social media is crucial within a marketing strategy.
I think that what I run into with older generation clients, for example, I had a church reach out to me and I pitched them, but then they saw the price. And I think a lot of that, what you're speaking about, is education and understanding why the price is that price. Because they think you're just showing up on social media like this isn't that hard. And I think educating them about how much time and thought goes into the strategy. Just because you see me post a graphic on Thursday and then it's a real, like, that doesn't mean that I didn't take my time to strategically place those things. So understanding the why of the price, I think, is important. And I think that starts with workshops, with understanding like this is how much time it takes to do these things.
They think social media is the marketing team, and that's not
a lot of people, a lot of people think that.
It's a portion of marketing. We have PR, we have all things that encompass marketing. It's like we just play
a very small role. We got a few questions. Okay, y'all. Okay, chat.
So, sacred serenity. Also, any advice on when you are a startup with limited funds to prioritize inventory stock or pour into marketing and a social media strategy?
Okay, so this brings me back to my product days. Something I learned a long time ago is to not have so many SKUs. Like, I could create a whole bunch of different things. I could have notebooks, I got bookmarks, I got stickers, and all of those different things just kind of divvy up your focus. I would say have 2 good products, and you're gonna pitch those products to the death. You know what I mean? So don't spend so much money on inventory. I really don't recommend that. I think that you should push 2 really good products and tell that story about the why more so, and invest in social media strategy. I don't think that people should have too many SKUs, especially when you're a small business. So
and also with that, I think a lot of times we look into, just because you can't afford the entire social media package, there are people that offer things for smaller. Like I offer, I think, social media strategy. You can pay for that on its own. A content calendar, you can pay for that separately. Find people that offer
smaller scale products.
Scale products that can help you in terms of social media. And then once you're growing, okay, I know that this person did X, Y, and Z for me previously. Let me go back to that.
Because I got the fun. Also, I think some people need to identify what's the real problem. Like, do you not record? Like, are you really struggling with content, or are you afraid of showing up? Like, what's the real tea? Like, let's not. I think a lot of times we could throw money at things without identifying the core. Like, okay, I need a new camera, girl. Or like, I just don't even want to, I don't like social media content. Like, whatever that core is, let's identify that before you just start throwing money at people because you know that they can do it. Like, are you afraid of telling your story? Like, are you afraid of being on camera? Like, let's really talk about it.
Yeah. I like talking. I just don't like editing.
See, do you not like editing? Like, identify what that is and then find somebody to do that. Like, find an editor.
Okay, next question.
Ooh.
How do you continue to educate yourself on your skills around content creation, video editing, etc.?
Yeah, you go ahead. You can go first.
Yeah, let me go ahead and jump into that. For me, I would have to say we have so many platforms for content creators. And even just education in general, like people don't really realize. Like I think HubSpot is really good if you want to take some external courses. We had Coursera through, what is that, Google? There are other social media based like blog platforms that also have sessions find yourself someone, also find someone that's doing the same things as you, and maybe at a higher scale, and they might offer mentorship programs. And you just have to continue to like
uplift, yeah,
sharing each other's work on what everyone else is doing. Also, video editing is free. I have learned so much from TikTok. I've learned so much from Instagram. I've learned so much from YouTube. There are other creators that are offering tips and tricks for you to like improve on your work. And I have content that I've created previously before that I'm now going back and with the tools that I've learned from them to like up my skills in terms of content editing and what it looks like to create content. My book bag right now has like so many gadgets. And you just bought the DJI. I want that one.
Shout out to that. My favorite thing. I'm recording on it right now.
Because I was so nervous, like what it would look like in lighting and places.
Girl, I love this thing. Girl, it's lit. You thinking about buying it? I love this DJI thing. Love it.
Start following more.
I would say the same. Just a quick piggyback. On certain pages that I have, I just only follow people that give tips. Like, I make sure that I integrate those into my social media feed so that I'm constantly, like, even though I'm scrolling, I'm getting fed information and education. I pay attention to what makes me stop scrolling. I should say that. Like, I pay attention to what makes me stop. So I save that post, and when I'm ready to create, I go and like pick out, okay, what is it about this that made me really engage, or what tip am I taking from this? So those are my 2 cents, but completely echo what you said. Yeah.
Yeah. Last question from our very own Tiana. What would you say are 3 top challenges you made in mindset when pitching to clients you online?
Ooh, okay. First and foremost, I think what I've been what I've been working through these past few months as I've started working for myself and pitching myself to clients is remembering that I work for myself now. I don't have to filter my personality, but I don't have to show up in any other way that's not me. Like, if you don't want to work with Kadeja, then that you don't want to work with me. Like, I'm not about to tap dance or dance around my vibe or my directness to work with anybody. Yeah, I don't like, all money ain't good money, and I'm not about to work with somebody that I don't vibe with. I can't do it. Like, that's why I couldn't work in the corporate America anymore, because I felt a little piece of me die a little bit, like I was constricting and fitting into the box. And I need to work with people that understand that I'm a multifaceted person and I'm beyond, like, yeah, you're hiring me for social media, but I have bigger ideas. I'm not changing myself. I think that's the first thing, the top change that I had to make in mindset. Yeah.
Corporate politics is like the worst thing that was ever invented.
Yeah.
There's nobody that can tell me anything. I suck at it. I'm not the best when it comes to social cues. I'm a very direct person. Please be very direct with me. I'm not, because I don't think about going home. Oh, she said,
I wonder what she meant by this. No. I'm here to do a job. This is social media. That is the beauty and the top change that I had to unlearn while I'm pitching myself is like, yeah, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. And that's the beauty of it. But it's literally unlearning that behavior. That's one of the top changes, as well as, upping the price, as you are an advocate for, upping that price slowly but surely. Get into the place where I need to be and feeling good about that. I think it's a difference between slapping a price on it and not feeling like, I don't know if I could do that. Am I worth that? Like, no, owning that price. Yeah. That's a change. Yeah, and also just being proud of my work.
Confidence behind that, like
the confidence behind your price. That is really important. I need a brainstorm, honey. I need a brainstorm.
I'm gonna be stuck in thought. So the confidence comes behind, like, I've done for other people's work. Mm-hmm. And I know that it's on me right now to build that portfolio. And I know that I have to take certain clients that may not be operating in a sense that they are paying my full price.
Right.
So putting yourself in the mindset, like, I've been in this space before. I know what it is that I need to do, and I have the proper strategy to go about it now. That's like the most important thing.
And that's when you up the price even more. I think also, like, a part of that is showing up online as yourself. There's no questions about who you're getting, who you're working with, because I'm on there. Like, this is me. So I think that's important for creatives as well. Like, I think as you pitch yourself and as you put yourself out there, people are going to gravitate towards you and know the person that you are and the work that you do. I think it's important to do both. Yeah.
that every question? Did we answer all of them?
Did we answer all the questions, friends?
Oh, we did.
That was great. We killed that.
Being inspired by Beyond Socials and wanted to be a part of our community.
For sure.
And I want you guys to stay tuned on more that we have to offer for you guys. We do have some things in the works. It is summertime. I want a part 2. You always want a part 2.
I'll pull up, y'all. No worries. Let me know, because I work for myself. I just pencil y'all into my schedule.
T, have a good meeting. We love you too. Kadeja, thank you again.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's alright, but I guess part 2.
Part 2 is coming
I
soon.
guess it's part 2. Alright, you guys, have a good one. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.